all about Eve. She knows how to deceive. She wants to win
A reprieve.
a reprieve. She gets all the awards. She is never seen with a sword.
He was just freestyling, mate, but it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, mate, I didn't even write that down before I did it. Hi, welcome to ABC's Film. I'm Barry. This is Alex.
Hello.
This week we're going to be watching All About Eve. It won the Best Picture Oscar in 1951. It stars Marilyn Monroe, Bette Davis, someone else who I always forget. Alex and I don't know anything about this one at all whatsoever, so we're hoping it's good because it's quite long. So All About Eve is a movie about Eve Harrington, who is a massive fan of this theatre actress called Margot. And she hangs around outside the theatre every night, just hoping to catch a glimpse of her. And one night she manages to speak to one of her friends.
Tell me, what do you do in between the time Margot goes in and comes out? Just huddle in that doorway and wait?
Oh, no. I see the play.
You see the play? You've seen every performance of this play?
And her friend says, "Oh, you are just darling, because you go to the theatre every night. You're not just hounding celebrities, you actually care about the play, so I'll take you back to meet Margot."
Can I make a point?
Yeah?
She must be bloody rich to be able to go to the theatre every night in New
No,
York.
she does mention standing doesn't cost that much, so she gets by.
But don't you find it, apart from everything else, don't you find it expensive?
Standing room doesn't cost much. I manage.
Yeah, but it's probably still like 50 quid.
Yeah, but I think standing's like, you know, like
In
at the
the
Royal
gardens.
Albert Hall, it's like right at the top. Her friend Karen takes her backstage to meet Margot, and Margot's there with her entourage of like playwrights and directors and things like that.
How do you do, my dear?
Oh, brother. Hello, Miss Channing.
My husband.
Hello, Miss Harrington.
How do you do, Mr. Richards?
And this is my dear friend and companion, Miss Birdie Coonan.
Oh, brother. Miss Coonan.
Oh, brother, what?
When she gets like this, all of a sudden she's playing Hamlet's mother.
And they're all sort of like, "Oh, this is a bit weird," and then instantly, "This isn't weird anymore, you should hang around with us."
Yeah.
There isn't a scene where she says, "Oh, you can be my assistant,"
Yeah.
or "You can take on this job," but she ends up taking on the role of like just a busybody, as Alex said.
I think
when we were
that-
watching it.
What it is they feel sorry for her because she's like, oh, my husband died during the war and all I've got left in my life is the theatre. So it's like, oh, you know, if you tell her to go away, she's just going to be sad.
Well, with Eddie gone, my life went back to beer. Except for a letter a week. One week he wrote me he had a leave coming up. I'd saved my money and vacation time and went to San Francisco to meet him. But Eddie wasn't there. They forwarded the telegram from Milwaukee. The one that came from Washington. To say that Eddie wasn't coming at all. That Eddie was dead.
So they feel sorry for her, she becomes part of the entourage, but she's also trying to become an actress without telling Margot that she is. She does it all sort of behind her back, and she becomes an understudy. And she manipulates everybody so that she can end up getting a starring, or she can end up one night playing Margot's role on stage as the understudy, and when she does that she brings all the press, so then there's a lot of buzz about her and Margot starts to get jealous, and it's basically she just manipulates and screws everybody over so that she can get to be number one.
You've never been to San Francisco. That was a stupid lie, easy to expose, not worthy of you.
I had to get in to meet Margot. I had to say something, be somebody, make her like me.
And she did like you. She helped and trusted you. You paid her back by trying to take Bill away.
That's not true.
I was there. I saw you and heard you through the dressing room door.
But it's not obvious that she's doing that for like the first
Oh yeah
75% of the film. It's not explicit that she's kind of like a psychopath.
Yeah, you definitely, I mean, it's
Sociopath.
clear. There was one moment when Alex was talking about her acting, and I mentioned that I wasn't sure if it was good acting or not, because at that point we weren't sure if she was supposed to be a sociopath, and now we know her acting is quite good.
Because she switches it on, like she's normal and she's like, oh, I'm gonna do this bit, like just you can tell like the idea is that she's carefully rehearsed all the things she's saying.
Yeah, and she's believable in manipulating people as well. It doesn't seem far-fetched that they would fall for it.
Eve, you mustn't mind Margot too much, even if I do.
There must be some reason. Something I've done without knowing.
The reason is Margot, and don't try to figure it out. Einstein couldn't.
But if I thought I'd offended her of all people.
Eve, I'm fond of Margot too, but I know Margot. And every now and then there is nothing I want to do so much as kick her right square in the pants.
Well, she has to pick on someone. I'd just as soon it was me.
Once she's finally won like this prestigious award, which is apparently better than Pulitzer, she gets back to her apartment, and there is a young woman in her apartment who is broken in, who is basically playing the same tricks that she played at the beginning.
You know the Eve Harrington clubs that they have in most of the girls' high schools. I've heard of them. Ours was one of the first, Erasmus Hall. I'm the president.
Erasmus Hall. That's in Brooklyn, isn't it?
Well, lots of actresses come from Brooklyn. Barbara Stanwyck and Susan Hayward. Of course, they're just movie stars.
And I guess maybe she's blinded by the fact that she's famous now, but she doesn't fall for it. Sorry, she falls for it. She don't, or at least it doesn't show her not falling for it.
So we think, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the implication there is that Hollywood is full of a lot of these kinds of people, which I find quite interesting.
Yeah, they manipulate their way to the top, and then they get manipulated, and then
so on and so forth.
The Sarah Siddons Award for Distinguished Achievement is perhaps unknown to you. It has been spared the sensational and commercial publicity that attends such questionable honors as the Pulitzer Prize, and those awards presented annually by that film society. The distinguished-looking gentleman is an extremely old actor. Being an actor, he will go on speaking for some time. It is not important that you hear what he says.
What do you think of the book ending? Is it called the book ending? No, the framing device.
well, of her winning the prize.
Yeah.
I thought the framing device was okay, but maybe didn't need that thing at the beginning. If, say, Margot really wanted that award all the way through, it would have kind of meant more.
Yeah.
But really, it was just, oh, she's winning an award, and the guy sort of has to say over narration, you know, like, this is better than a Pulitzer Prize.
I think
know?
it was...
There's no weight to it, I don't think.
What I quite liked about it was you could tell the characters weren't particularly happy at the start. But I also thought when Eve was doing that whole ridiculous bow at the start, like... It's like, that's ridiculous. Why is she doing that? And it turns out, you know, she's a liar. And like she puts things on, so...
See, I wasn't sure about Bette Davis because she kind of has like a permanent disapproval look on her face.
Yeah.
It was only her acting that was so cool that like you would see her as like a fun-loving sort of person, but her face was always dour.
She's utterly gorgeous, though. I can't think of anything else we've seen her in.
No,
like,
I don't
in these
think we
Oscar
have,
films. I don't
no.
think she's been in any, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah.
She's great.
I think there's an animation like The Simpsons or something like that which takes the piss out of All About Eve.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise
has
me, but
her face in
I
it.
think they've done everything, haven't they?
Yeah.
Really, The Simpsons.
It's I definitely recognise her look from this film.
Yeah.
From somewhere.
I think it's probably quite a famous part.
Yeah.
You know, this film was quite famous as well because we both had heard of it beforehand.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of it.
Referred to in different things.
And now I understand the references as well.
Toby. Mr. President, you want to have a debate on school prayer?
Yes, I do.
This will start it.
I gotta say, look, Toby, I'm not wild about the woman. I've known her for 25 years, and I think she's all about Eve.
Well, I wouldn't cast her in a play, but at the Department of Education.
Bette Davis.
She's fantastic.
Yeah.
She's absolutely the best thing about the film.
Bette Davis was just brilliant. There are so many like little lines that she had.
Bill's 32. He looks 32. He looked at 5 years ago. He'll look at 20 years from now. I hate men.
You can tell with this film that every single line was very carefully poured over and it's all very sharp. It reminded me an awful lot of what's that film called, Barry? That really famous film that we've also seen. Shit, it's gone from my
Casablanca.
head. Casablanca is very similar to Casablanca because a lot of these early Oscar films have an awful lot of flab in them and there are a lot of scenes that shouldn't be in there.
And melodrama.
Yeah,
it's nice to see a talkie.
With Casablanca, it's like you can tell that's been drafted so many times.
Yeah.
You can also tell that with this.
Plenty of time for a nice long nap. We rehearsed most of last night.
You could sleep now, couldn't you?
Why not?
The mark of a true killer. Sleep tight, rest easy, and come out fighting.
Why did you call me a killer?
What did I say, Killer? I meant champion. I get my boxing terms mixed.
There were so many like callbacks to things that people had said, like 10 lines ago or something like that. You know, where he was like, "You're a killer."
Yeah.
She's like, "Why would you call me a killer?" And he says, "I'm sorry, I meant to say champion," or something like that. And then later on, he calls her a killer again, and she's like, "Champion."
But right now I want to take my nap. It's important.
It's important right now that we talk. Killer to killer.
Champion to champion.
Not with me, you're no champion. You're stepping way up in class.
Along the same lines as that, it's like all the characters in this are so well hewn and so well characterized. You have your central cast of characters, and they're all so well characterized. You've got Margot as like the aging star, and Karen who's like well-meaning.
Yeah.
She's part of the theatre. Eve, who's like seems nice, but she's a sociopath.
Yeah.
Addison, who's like a slimy reporter. Lloyd, who's quite a well-meaning playwright, idealistic.
You have to keep your teeth sharp. All right. But I will not have you sharpen them on me. Or on Eve.
What about her teeth? What about her fangs?
She hasn't cut them yet, and you know it.
Something I've noticed with these old films is that women tend to act a lot better than men do. Women shine in these old films, and men are like, you know, old style acting and stuff, you know, like where they say Marlon Brando came along and changed the game for men. Like, women, it just suits women to have that kind of old style of acting.
If you look at the portrayal of women in these kinds of films compared to big budget blockbusters these days, you know, they're really, you know, they're written really well. They're really sympathetic and they're really charismatic and they're all really intelligent as well. You know?
I was saying that the theater is 9/10 hard work. Work done the hard way by sweat, application, and craftsmanship. I'll agree to this. To be a good actor or actress or anything else in the theater means wanting to be that more than anything else in the world.
Yes. Yes, it does.
And on that subject, Marilyn Monroe is in this film. And she's not very good.
Sucks.
She shines to look at.
Yeah.
Like the second she walked on screen, I was just like, holy hell, she's attractive. Because she really, I mean, you can tell why she's famous for her looks, but she's not famous for her acting.
Oh, waiter.
And that isn't a waiter, my dear, that's a butler.
Well, I can't yell, "Oh, Butler," can I? Maybe somebody's name is Butler.
You have a point. An idiotic one, but a point.
I don't want to make trouble. All I want is a drink.
I suppose you can look at it in the sense that if you saw like Marilyn Monroe turn up to an audition, you'd cast her, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
she is stunning.
She's got screen presence, screen magic and everything.
And she's not a larger lady. People need to stop saying that.
Dolph.
That thin. She's not even like, she's skinny compared to the other actresses that are in these films. Let's get that off my chest.
Absolutely.
I am sick and tired of these paranoid outbursts.
Paranoid!
Oh, the coats, Barry. Those are fur coats. I just liked it. You don't tend to see that kind of thing.
There were a lot of fur coats in here, and there was a great bit where somebody gets a sable, and they're like, "Oh, I like this sable," and I started singing "Santa Baby," and then they walk past Marilyn Monroe, and she looks at it and goes, "Oh, I want a sable."
Ignoring the fact that their greatest attraction to the public is their complete lack of resemblance to normal human beings.
Now there's something a girl could make sacrifices for.
Probably has.
Sable.
I think, you know, back in the day, it's like, oh, it's a fur coat, it's very glamorous, and now it'd be kind of bad PR and bad publicity. Plus, it's not really in style anymore to have a fur coat these days, anyway.
Yeah, you never see it, do you?
No, because people frown on it these days. It's like, oh, we're gonna go to McDonald's, but don't you fucking wear a fur coat.
Yeah, if you walk around like Belgravia or something in London, you don't see people wearing fur coats.
You're bound to get covered in something if you do. Someone's going to throw something at you. What are you doing? Why like that? No, Barry, no, stop it.
You have every reason for happiness.
Except happiness.
Every reason. But due to some strange, uncontrollable, unconscious drive, you permit the slightest action of a kid like Eve to turn you into an hysterical, screaming harpy. Now, once and for all, stop it.
Where does, like, in terms of all the Oscar films we've seen so far, where would you put this?
I don't know an exact number, but it's
somewhere in my top 5.
Yeah, it's when it first started, the first half an hour, I was thinking to myself, this might beat out Casablanca as the best one.
Yeah, I don't think it does.
We both agree that Casablanca is the best
one.
So far, the best picture winner that we've watched.
Good, I'll have a drink.
No, not me, boss.
Don't have a drink.
Boss, let's get out of here.
No, sir. I'm waiting for a lady.
Please, boss, let's go. Ain't nothing but trouble for you here.
Coming back. I know she's coming back.
We'll take the car and drive all night. We'll get drunk. We'll go fishing and stay away until she's gone.
Get up and go home, will you?
No, sir. I'm staying right here.
I thought this one might beat it. It doesn't.
It doesn't. It's not quite as good.
No. But
maybe if this was shorter, like there's a lot of stuff at the end where when Margot Robbie's character kind of phases out and she's not really in the film much, like the last 30% or so, it becomes
Margot
less...
Robbie?
Not Margot Robbie. Margot, what's her second name? Margot Robbie's in this film, by the way. What's her second name?
I don't know, but you're thinking of Bette Davis, right?
Yeah, so
It's
Margot's
her
character. Anyway, you know, she's not in the film for like the last 30% and she's so charismatic and she starts to draw for like, it's basically her film.
Yeah.
Pretty much for the entire
Well, I
second
did
film.
say at one point when we were watching it, she gets sad and her husband starts talking to her for about 2 minutes. And I said, you know, when she's not talking, it's just not interesting.
Many of your guests have been wondering when they may be permitted to view the body. Where has it been laid out?
It hasn't been laid out. We haven't finished with the embalming. As a matter of fact, you're looking at it. The remains of Margot Channing. Sitting up. It is my last wish to be buried sitting up.
It's up there, but there are better Oscar ones. But then again, a lot of them suffer from the same thing, like Gentleman's Agreement. I love that, but it's too long.
Yeah.
This is too long.
Cut a little bit out of it, it'd be great.
Yeah.
A lot better than it is. Well,
I mean,
I don't say a lot better because it's great. But...
It's no coincidence that the film we think is best is also the shortest and the tightest, and has like a cool story.
Yeah.
It's not just
you really need to tell that to like modern Oscar winners, really, don't you? Shorter,
well,
guys.
Old ones as well.
Yeah, exactly.
They're
It's
all
always,
close to 3 hours.
It's always been a problem.
You're in a beehive, pal, didn't you know? We're all busy little bees, full of stings, making honey day and night. Aren't we, honey?
Margot, really?
Please don't play governess, Karen. I haven't your unyielding good taste.
So that was our review of All About Eve. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, click like and subscribe. If you didn't,
click dislike.
No, don't do that. Just ignore it. There's no point to be harsh.
Every night I bring her Frankfurt sandwiches, Frankfurt sandwiches. Oh, my baby loves those Frankfurt sandwiches, Frankfurt sandwiches. I try to win her with candy, ice cream and custard. But how she likes hot dogs with mustard.
I haven't got any obvious points.
No.